Well, I'm down here at the Nutra Insights Hub, joined by Patrick, who's actually just been talking about the EU regulation and commercial impact of the food supplements industry. Now, for those of you that might have missed it, unfortunately, Patrick, can you just give us a quick overview and what you've been talking about?
Yeah, sure. We've been looking at the main pieces of legislation that come from Europe that affect food supplements, what you can put in them and what can be said on the label, specifically the use of health claims in advertising and marketing, and also safety requirements in terms of conflicting rules in different countries. In certain countries you can use certain substances in food supplements, in others you cannot. So basically describing the situation faced by companies, the companies that are coming here as they seek to market products across all EU member states.
Now, I mean, that is a really important topic at the moment, things that everyone is discussing, because everyone needs that consumer sort of awareness and they want to be able to trust the product. How have you seen things change over the last few years, and how do you see things moving forward in the next few?
Well, we're really at a crucial turning point at the moment, because there's a lot of decisions to be taken in EU legislation that will really affect the situation on the ground, both for consumers and for industry. Botanical food supplements, for example, are something that in the next couple of years the Commission will be deciding whether to create a specific piece of legislation that covers botanicals. So that will really affect any company anywhere in the EU that's selling a botanical food supplement and wants to export it to other EU countries. At the moment you have significant divergence in national rules, so if there was harmonisation it could have potential commercial benefits for many companies which would boost the economy, but it obviously depends on how this is done and if it's done well and if the legislation works both for consumers but also for industry, so that the situation is workable for SMEs in Europe, which really drive the European economy.
So it sounds like quite a complicated area.
It is
a balancing act?
It is a bit of a balancing act, and it is food law is very complex because you have a lot of conflicting EU rules and national rules. So as an industry sector representing the industry, we try and work to create something that individual small, medium-sized enterprises in Europe can work with. These companies are pretty much the drivers of the European economy, so it's very important that these type of companies have access to the full internal market and have the ability, to boost economic growth in the EU as a whole.
And obviously all these changes, unfortunately, do take a lot of time. I mean, when do you think the end consumer will actually start seeing these laws and regulation take effect?
Well, I guess it's a constant basis. There's constantly EU legislation being adopted. It never really stops. We have the health claims regulation at the moment, which was adopted in 2006, but its implementation is still being finalised. But obviously the next 5 or 6 years will be crucial in terms of concluding the framework that applies at least to food supplements in the EU, and what you can and cannot say in a product and what you can and cannot use in a product, which is obviously key for consumers but also key for industry.
And with that, what you can and can't say, is there one sort of particular change that is going to change the industry, or is it just a bigger framework with lots of others?
Well, in terms of what you can and cannot say at the moment, with the health claims regulation, they're looking for an extremely high level of clinical trials to support health claims, which is obviously difficult for many SMEs to produce. So depending on how that situation evolves, it obviously will have a big impact on the industry moving forward, because if you want to continue innovation, if you want small companies to invest and create jobs, you obviously need a regulatory structure that's workable.
The catch-22, because you also obviously want the clinical trials to prove that they do what they say they do.
Yeah, indeed. Well, you need to be a product that claims to deliver an effect needs to deliver the effect. How you assess how it delivers that effect is the key point. It's also important to recognise that foods are not drugs. When you're assessing the efficacy of a food, you're not assessing the efficacy of a medicine. So you have to have a proportional approach as well. But of course, you have to ensure consumers are not misled.
Fantastic. Well, just quickly, I'm not sure whether you've actually had time yet, because I know it's been a busy day for you, but have you had the chance to have a look around the Vitafoods Europe event, and is there anything that you're particularly looking forward to seeing?
I've actually been on our stand, because we have a stand here, so I haven't had much of a chance to look around, but I'm looking forward to it. It's my second time coming here, and it's always interesting to see the innovation and the development of new products and what people are doing to push the frontiers as far as possible in terms of product development, etc.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you around the rest of the time.